Andrew, you good?
Yep,
right.
all set.
Thank you, sir. All right. Welcome to tonight's select board meeting on Monday, August 22nd. We're going to call this meeting to order. On June 16th, 2021. Governor Baker signed into law an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. This act includes an extension until March 31st of 2023 of the remote meeting provisions of his March 12th, 2020 executive order. Therefore, this meeting will be held via remote participation by the board, and we are going to grant Westwood Media permission to record the meeting and look to see if there's anyone else wishing to record the meeting. Seeing and hearing none, I'm going to jump into the chair's update. First, we have Westwood Day. Just a reminder, Saturday, September 17th will be Westwood Day, rain or shine. List of activities includes a 9 a.m. 5K run, followed by a 10 a.m. fun run, and from 10 a.m. all the way to 3 p.m. the vendor village and food court will be open. Now, we are seeking volunteers for Westwood Day. We have a lot of activities that could use some volunteers, from everything from setting the event up to parking monitors and greeters, activity monitors, and helping clean. So if you want, you can sign up, please, for 2.5 to 3.5 hour shifts. All those volunteers will receive an event t-shirt. Just head on over to www.westwoodday.org and click on the volunteers link. Now, while it did rain today, we are nowhere near out of drought conditions. And this is a reminder that Dedham-Westwood Water District has issued revised mandatory stage 2A watering restrictions, which means use of public water supply for any of the following is prohibited: watering of shrubs, trees, lawns, grass, plants, or other vegetation, except from a watering can or another container not exceeding 3 gallons in capacity. No washing of vehicles or other mobile equipment except from a watering can or another container not exceeding that same 3-gallon capacity. Washing of streets, driveways, parking lots, service station aprons, or the exterior of commercial or residential buildings. Again, except from a watering can or container not exceeding a 3-gallon capacity. That would take you a long time to wash your home that way. Operation of any ornamental fountain or other structures making similar use of water. Filling from an empty or less than 3/4 full condition of swimming and or wading pools, except for home wading pools not requiring more than 5 gallons of water. And service of drinking water in restaurants is only available on request. Exempt from this are plant nurseries, golf course greens, and commercial agricultural activities. Residents are encouraged to visit Dedham-Westwood Water District's website, dwwd.org, for more information about these restrictions. As we have kicked off the project for the Hanlon Deerfield School build, we just want to provide residents some information about where they can learn more, read updates, and express any concerns or questions. The project website is www.westwoodschoolbuilding.com, and there will be weekly updates posted there. If you have a question or a concern about the project, you can email the project team at hanlondeerfield.project@westwood.k12.ma.us, and someone from the project team will respond. And finally, there's also a link to the project website on the town hall site just below the calendar section in the news section. Finally, in the chair's update, just a couple of reminders that the last day to register to vote for the upcoming primary is this Saturday, October 27th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you can do that at Town Hall. And then there's also an early voting schedule starting Saturday, the 27th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the Gillette Room at the Westwood Police Station. And that same schedule runs, similar schedule. No voting on Sunday, but Monday, it's open from 8:30 to 4:30. Tuesday, the Gillette Room for early voting is open from 8:30 until 7 p.m. Wednesday and Thursday, it is open from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. And then on Friday, September 2nd, it is open from 8:30 to 1 p.m. That covers the chair's update. And so we're going to move on to scheduled action. We have a couple of licenses to review with Neroli. Nora, I believe you are here to present the background to us. So with that, I will turn it over to you.
So, Mr. Chair, Nora's having a difficult time logging on right now. So we are trying to help her get on. If you can just bear with us for a few minutes or a few seconds.
Okay. Give me a moment here.
Mr. DeSaro, do you have counsel with you this evening, sir? You're muted, ma'am. I'm sorry.
There we go.
Sorry. Yes, Carolyn Conway on behalf of both applicants tonight. I have with me today Mr. Michael DeSaro, who is one of the principals of the applicant and also the proposed manager of record of both the market and the restaurant, if you will. And to my left is Mario Lapori, who is going to be the chef and in charge of the food that will be presented in both locations.
Thank you.
We also have on, who should be logging on, is attorney Vincent Demento, who is also a member of the LLC and is basically acting as in-house counsel also for the proposed applicants.
Would you like him brought in as a panelist, ma'am?
Yes, I think so. I think just in case we have any questions.
He's coming in right now.
Thank you,
Thank
Tish.
you, Tish.
Chris, how we doing with getting Nora?
Mr. Chair, Nora should be with us
I see her.
within the
I see her.
next seconds.
There we go.
Nice to see you, Mr. Demento. You're muted, sir.
I said it was great to see you, Pat. Happy anniversary.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Martin.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, Nora is now with us.
All right, Nora. So we have a couple of licenses, applications to review with Neroli. So if you would like to take us through the background, please, by all means.
Sure. So the first application is for Neroli Mercado, which is in the former CVS building. And that is a grocery store, fresh food services business. And they are applying for an off-premise sale of alcohol license. I believe Mike is here he can explain a little bit more about the specifics of the business, but it's similar to other grocery stores where will have fresh produce and meats and items that are in the rules and regulations required for a grocery store. Mike, did you want to add any more detail on that?
Maybe if I may, again, Carolyn Conway on behalf of this, what you see before you tonight with both applications is basically what has part of the evolutionary process that's come out of COVID-19, where restaurants were allowed and they expanded their to-go options and their to-go alcohol. So what we're trying to do is to give the people, the local residents, of the full experience here with both the market and the restaurant. The market is, as I said, is going to be, as you said, a full grocery store, but is also going to have many sandwiches, delicacies, and also prepared foods for people to take out. Mr. Lapori, who has extensive experience in the restaurant industry, he's a graduate of Johnson & Wales, has been involved in many, many restaurants, is curating one of the best experiences that you can get from going from all the way from Italian subs and sandwiches with imported meats to great cheeses, and the market itself, the deli part of the market, will be making sandwiches. And as I said, they will also have food to go. We've looked at raviolis,
Yes, we have.
pastas, meatballs, that type of thing, so that the people coming in, you will have a choice of going from lunch through dinner to go in and to get a meal or sandwich to go, including grocery items, but also have the option to take a bottle of wine or a 6-pack or whatever of beer. I don't know if you're going to have growlers or not. We haven't really talked about that, but to be able to take that with you for your dinner. The other side, if you will, is the restaurant side. And that's where we're going to have a more upscale, finer dining, traditional Italian food with a modern twist.
Carol, I don't want to cut you off here, but because these are going to be considered as individual license applications, let's save that introduction.
Okay,
when we get to the
I
restaurant.
understand. So what we're going to do though is we've been experimenting a bit, and the operating hours of the alcohol license for the grocery store will be from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night. And you can see from the floor plan where those items will be placed. Because it's not a lot of square footage, we're going to be very, very careful as to what the quality of our products that we're going to be able to sell. Mario will be in charge of, as I said, doing the wine list for what's there. The beers, and we expect it to be commensurate with the quality of the food that's there. So we laugh, it's not going to be your run of the mill place where you go in and you buy, just a 6-pack of regular beer. It's going to be craft beers.
Yep.
And as I said, really not too expensive in the sense that we're pricing ourselves out of the restaurant, but very high quality Italian wines and some California wines, so that people would want to take it home and be able to have an experience at home, as opposed to sitting in a restaurant.
I think we're doing that with all our beverages, including our sodas and our juices and things like that. What we're trying to stick to is more of our imported. For the sodas, we're going to be sticking to more things that are not traditionally found, like you could get across the street at the CVS. We're going to try to stick to what our idea is for the market, and that's more the Italian style. So it would be kind of the same with the beers, and with the wine would be more fitting to the food. And also, you're not going to just be able to grab a 6-pack of Bud Light or anything like that. It would be more toned towards where we're going with the menu and with our food.
Thank you.
I'd also like to point out that similar to Lambert's, which is another business in town that has a Section 15 license, Neroli's would like to have some outdoor seating. And that seating, I don't think the exact location has been identified yet. So if the board is inclined to grant a Section 15 license as well as a CV license, we'd ask that you do so with understanding that the plan for the outdoor seating would still have to be approved by the building commissioner.
Nora, just a couple of quick points of clarification. So this license for the market is not full alcohol. This one's beer and wine, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And then as you're referencing the outdoor seating, that is the outdoor seating for the market?
It is. And so that would be, there would not be a pouring license for that. The Section 15 license is only for off-premise sales, but the market would like to have some outdoor tables so that people could purchase food and eat it just outside the premises.
Okay. And just do either of my colleagues have any questions? I have maybe a couple more, but I'm going to open the floor to you guys first here. Neither? Okay.
Mary Ann. So I guess my question is, if you have the outdoor seating, how are you going to be preventing people from buying a beer or a bottle of wine? Obviously not a wine, but the beer, and then go outside and sit down and eat their sandwich at the tables.
Well, it would be incumbent upon us to have staff outside to regulate and make sure that taking alcohol off premises is not consumed on the patio. And because that's not the purpose of it. We don't want people to go out and crack open a bottle of wine and start eating their sandwich. It would be our responsibility to make sure that is policed properly. as opposed to the restaurant, which does have a separate patio, and we would expect to have that fully staffed and in conjunction with ABCC regulations that we would have to have the staff there.
Okay.
If I could point out, we do have the same situation at both Lambert's and Wegmans where they sell alcohol to go. And then they also have food that you can take and you can eat at the tables at both of those locations. And that has not been a problem to date.
Okay.
Is that the only question you have, Michael?
Yes.
Okay. My other question relates to the hours. Selling till 11 p.m. Is there anybody else in town that is selling to go until that late?
Yes, let me just get the list up. Just give me 1 second. We also have Lambert's that is open from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Sunday and from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday. So they are open just as late as this request.
And we don't, right now, we want to see what the market's going to bear. I mean, and what our staffing is going to be. Say, at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, if we were finding that people aren't coming in for that, say a takeout after 9 or whatever, then we would expect that we would close
Just
shop
around.
at that point.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So at this point, I think I would entertain a motion.
It's a public hearing, right?
Oh,
So we
Yes,
have-
it is.
Yes, so we have to open it up to the public, Rob.
I'm sorry. Is there anyone from the public in attendance that would like to ask a question or be recognized? You can either raise your hand or put your question in the Q&A section. Thank you, Michael, for that.
You're welcome.
Seeing and hearing none. Do we need to close a hearing on this before we can take a
No,
vote?
you need to vote on it before you can close the hearing.
Vote on it, close the hearing. Thank you, Pat. All right, so now I would entertain a motion.
Okay, make sure I got the right one here. Hold on. All right, so I move that the select board approve Michael DeSaro as the manager of record for Neroli Mercado and approve Islington Market Group LLC doing business as Neroli Mercado for a new section 15 off-premises wine and malt license and common viticular license pending the following: final sign-offs by the building, fire, and health departments, management supplying the licensing agent with safe alcohol service certification cards, such as tips for all staff that will sell, serve, or handle alcohol, and a manager in-house training affidavit. Approval by the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission, and that the select board's signatures be electronically affixed to the Neroli Mercado Common Viticular License, Section 15 license, and of course the ABCC Local Licensing Authority form.
I second that.
All right, roll call vote. Ms. LeBlanc Cummings,
Aye.
Mr. Walsh,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. And let's move on to the second. Now, this is your opportunity to talk about the restaurant and how things would be run there.
This is probably the more exciting of the two, is that we have, as you can see from the floor plan that we have, it is a full service restaurant. And we're looking for a full alcohol license. The indoor restaurant seating is 206 persons. And we expect to have a traditional Italian with a modern twist. And the decor will reflect that. It's going to have warm colors, woods, very nice soft lighting so that people can go in. We expect everybody from a family to be comfortable going there, to date nights with husband and wife going out on a date night. We have so far during our construction process, and Mr. Lapoy can answer this better than I can, just received so much excitement from the people in the neighborhood who are telling us that they're looking forward to having a restaurant there that people can walk to. And we're hopefully it's the type of place that people are going to go to, maybe hopefully several times a week. We will have later in the night, we will have a lighter menu, but there will be food available, at the bar and in the restaurant, more lighter appetizers type of thing. But I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Lepori right now so he can give you a little bit of what he expects that the restaurant will be serving.
So basically, to just go back to what she was saying earlier, once the Muffin House had opened and we had the signage in the windows, we started getting a lot of people coming by and asking questions. And a lot of their statements were, "Oh, we can't wait until we get a restaurant within walking distance," because it's very residential in that area. So I'm very excited to have that happen. So what we were talking about, I'm looking to, we're going to be a very pasta-centric menu. And I'm looking at fitting the pasta sauces with the pastas that are traditionally with those regions, along with some steaks and some chops. And of course, my background is seafood too, so I'll be connecting with my purveyors, find out what's coming into the city fresh, and then be developing special menus on that. As far as the bar menu goes for the late night, we'll probably start around 9 o'clock. I'm looking at kind of utilizing my appetizer menu, kind of cross-utilizing some things, maybe some things that I've been doing that are selling well at the market, some of the smaller plates that I can maybe transfer over there. Just kind of feeling out exactly what the clients are. I'll put some things out there, and then possibly even some smaller plates too.
And we're looking for a midnight closing for the restaurant of it. And for the record, I just want to make sure that I mentioned to the board that Mr. DeSaro is a citizen of the United States. He's a resident of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and he's familiar with the rules and regulations of the town and the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission with respect to the sale and service of alcohol. I just want to hit those section 26 requirements. We've got a great team going in. I do want to point out, as you can see from the application, that Mr. Petroziello, who is our landlord, is also a member of the LLC, of both LLCs. So that we have, a great team. Mr. Demento is on the team. He has well over 40 years of experience in representing the restaurants. We have Mr. Lepori, who started off with Johnson & Wales, has been in many, many fine dining restaurants. And we just feel that we're coming in with one of the strongest teams possible to make this a unique dining experience for the town.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to having you. And I will first ask if either of my colleagues have questions with regards to the application.
I do. First, I want to put aside the fact that I haven't had dinner yet, and I'm now extremely hungry. That aside, I am one of those people who is thrilled that you are going to be in our neighborhood, a place where we can walk. And I'm very excited to have you. So thank you for your presentation tonight. The question I have is, given that you will be a neighborhood restaurant and you've applied for a license to be open 7 days a week until midnight, what precautions are you going to take in terms of protecting residents from the potential of late night noise?
Well, what we're going to do is, and I think that what you've mentioned with your, the management affidavit and everything is the first thing that needs to be done is very strong training. And we're going to be working with our landlord to make sure that there's proper lighting everywhere, and that we, if necessary, that at closing times, we can get our staff outside to make sure that nobody is loitering, nobody is making noise, and we also will be able to do a lot with our website. We're going to be able to direct people to where they should be parking, and to make sure that they respect the neighbors that are there. Most importantly, we expect that most of the people will be the neighbors, and that's who we want there is people that are in the neighborhood already, who will take pride in this place as part of their neighborhood, and would not make sure that it's not late night noise. The other thing that we can do is we could make sure that that the place itself is not loud. That the music is not loud. We're not planning on right now a lot of there won't be a lot of televisions. It's not, it won't be conducive like a sports bar. This is, as I said, this is the type of place that you're going to want to go out and have a nice, wonderful dinner and then go home.
I wish I could do that tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Michael, any questions?
No, I do not.
And we also expect, because as you all know, Michael, everyone here is connected to the town of Westwood, that we are going to continue an ongoing dialogue with the representatives, of the town, of the making sure that everybody knows that we're open to feedback. And that, if we need to do any course corrections along the way, that we will make sure that we're doing that. Because we will plan on being around for a long time.
And we're expecting to see you all there anyway.
Yeah. So unless you're loud.
That's right. So a couple of questions. So with respect to the noise that Mary Ann was just highlighting, I noticed that because the patio is off on the side of the building, there may be a bit more echo to that sound. So I would just ask you to be mindful of that. But let's hope that you're full all the way straight through to closing. So with that, this is a public hearing. I would ask, are there any neighbors that are interested in being heard, or you can raise your hand, or you can put a question in the Q&A.
While you're waiting to hear from any residents who may have comments to make, I also just want to point out that the Alcohol Review Committee did review this application as well as the application for the Mercado and recommended unanimously in favor of the board's approval.
Okay, seeing and hearing no comments from the public, I would entertain a motion.
Okay, I move that the select board grant approval to Michael DeSaro as the manager of record for Islington Restaurant Group LLC doing business as Neroli. That we approve an Islington Restaurant Group LLC doing business as Neroli Restaurant for a new Section 12 all alcohol and common particular license pending the following: the final sign-offs by the building, the fire, and health departments, and that management supply the licensing agent with safe alcohol service certification cards, such as tips, for all staff that will serve, sell, or handle alcohol, and manager in-house training affidavit. The ABC Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission approval, and of course that the select board signatures be electronically affixed to the Section 12 license and the ABCC local licensing authority form.
Mary Ann, before you second that, we do have a question from someone in attendance. Can we let Mr. Privatera in for the opportunity to ask a question, please? Joe, I believe you are now in. All you need to do is unmute.
Thanks very much, Rob. And Jimmy, good to see you. Quick question. If it's 200
Hey,
seats.
Joe, real quick, just let for the record, just let everybody know.
Yeah, Joe
name
Privatera,
matters.
16 Dean Street, Westwood, Mass.
Thank you, sir.
If it's 200 seats and you put 4 people in a car, that gives you about 50 cars. And if half the people walk to it, that gives you 25 parking spaces. Can you help me better understand how many parking spaces are available there?
You want to take the what
So I finally got a chance to talk. Here we go. So there are actually 40 spots behind the building that's available. It's especially, that's going to be the only thing that's going to be open late at night. So the back of the building is available. We're also offering a free valet service as well, which I talked to the town a little bit in a prior meeting. There's also the parking, municipal parking in the CVS parking lot, as well as the public library right across the street. And then also Morrison Park, which is obviously
yeah.
sometimes going to be very busy.
Yeah.
But we're hoping that's kind of the last option for people. But there is a lot of options there. But we specifically want to make sure that we have the free valet service available for all the residents and anyone that joins us to make sure we don't run into any parking issues.
And as I mentioned earlier, we will make sure that all of the options are available on our website. So if anybody goes to the website, we will have the information regarding parking available to the public.
So I could just point out also that the planning board, when they reviewed the Islington Center redevelopment project, they did so with just this type of use in mind, and they approved the parking to be satisfactory for the uses that are here, with the condition that if the building commissioner sees parking, over parking on streets and too much parking in neighborhoods, then he will work with the applicant to revise the seating. We don't expect that to be necessary, though. As Mike mentioned, there are 40 spaces available on the property and 32 spaces across at the municipal parking lot near Wentworth Hall, another 40 spaces at CVS that are almost never full. And there are cross parking easements between the town and CVS to cover the use of those.
The condo has 25, 30 spaces, and we hope they're all joining us from their new residencies, and they're already there. So we hope that to be something that's easy for them.
Thank you both very much. It's very helpful, and I wish you the best. And Chris and I are looking forward to seeing your wonderful restaurant. Thank you.
We're
Thank
looking
you.
forward to seeing you too.
Thank you, Joe. Mary Ann, you may now second Michael's motion.
Thank you. I second that motion.
All right, roll call vote. Ms. LeBlanc Cummings,
Aye.
Mr. Walsh,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Question for you, Michael. When is the official pre-opening and when is the opening night?
So it looks like after our health inspection today that we're looking to open hopefully on September 8th for the market. Staffing is becoming a little bit of an issue, but we're working through it. It's just the current dynamic of the world right now. But we're looking like September 8th on the market, maybe a little the week prior to that. And we just started really roughing out the restaurant. So I hope before, Christmas time, I'd love to get everyone in there for holiday parties and things like that. But obviously, as we've seen with the market, lead times on things, we're going to do our best before the new year.
So if I could just point out to the board, construction is a little bit unreliable these days. So we're very much hoping that they're open this year. But if they're not, they really won't get any use of the alcohol license because, as you know, it runs through December 31st. So I think they'll be back here for a renewal likely before they're open.
We'll definitely be back for the renewal.
Outstanding. Well, we wish you the best and good luck. And I know that the three of us will all be stopping in to wish you well.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Nora, we've got you up again, right? We have a one-day license for an event at Hale, is that right?
Yes, so this is the Hale Education's Steam Kettle Musical Festival, which is scheduled for September 10th. It's just the latest in many offerings that Hale has had year after year, all of which have been tremendously successful and well organized. And the town has never had any concerns about any of them. So this one is set to occur on Saturday, September 10th from 12:30 in the afternoon to 7 p.m. The musicians will play at Cat Rock Field, and there'll be tickets required. It's not an open event, but they're expecting between 200 and 300 guests, and they will have a tip certified servers from a wholesale brewery that will be providing, the brewery will be providing the alcohol, and they will have tip certified servers providing service to people. And they will also have food trucks, which is a little bit different than the way some other projects have been handled. But I would just ask that the board just make sure that if you grant this one-day license, that you do so with a condition that the health department approves the food permit application for the food truck. So when I last checked in with the health division, they were still waiting for that food permit application.
Very good. Questions from either of my colleagues?
No.
Nope.
Right, would entertain this motion.
So I move the select board approve a one-day special beer and wine license for September 10th, 2022 to Hale Education, pending temporary food permit issuance and the condition to keep Carby Street and all other roads clear for fire and emergency vehicle access. In addition, we authorize electronic signatures of the clerk to be added to the Hale Education special one-day beer and wine license.
I second that.
Okay, roll call. Ms. LeBlanc Cummings,
Aye.
Mr. Walsh,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Good luck, Hale, for your event. And, all right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Shannon. Good luck there. All right, moving on to new business. We have an acceptance of a grant opportunity here for a Green Communities grant of $90,000 that was recently awarded. Is Tom here at all to talk about this? He's not, huh? Okay, Chris, do you want to talk about it, or would you like me to give the background?
I'm happy to do it if you'd like, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, so thank you. So Tom Philman, who is our energy manager, who's been doing a fabulous job for the town over a number of years, securing grants and really helping the town be better prepared from an energy sustainability standpoint, has been applying for grants as the board has previously approved. This particular grant is it's a total of $90,000, and it's going to be for LED lighting at the Sheen Elementary School and an HVAC upgrade with air cleaning at the Thurston Middle School. Tom has indicated to me he will continue to apply for grants for the town on the town's behalf. So I am confident that we'll have another grant before you in the very near future.
And just to echo what a great job Tom has been doing, this is a new 90,000 that would bring our total to nearly $1.4 million in Department of Energy Resources grants that he's been able to secure on our behalf. So do I have questions from either of my colleagues?
No question.
This is an easy one. I would entertain a motion.
So I move that the select board accept the 2022 Green Communities grant of $90,000 for LED lighting at the Sheehan Elementary School and an HVAC upgrade with air cleaning at the Thurston Middle School.
I second that.
Ms. LeBlanc Cummings,
Aye.
Mr. Walsh,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Thank you, Phil, for all that you've been able to do securing all of these wonderful grants for us, and we look forward to your continued success. Okay. Moving on to old business. When we last were together, we discussed different options that Chris and Pam had presented regarding funds for the Hanlon Deerfield School Building Project. And Chris, would you like to take lead on this one, or would you like Pam to take lead on this one? Who's got the wheel here?
I'd certainly turn it over to Pam. She's been really doing a Herculean effort to help us with the opera funds and to get us before Norfolk County.
Okay.
Yes, hello, everyone. After your last meeting, you asked that Chris and I continue to explore utilizing some of our ARPA money that's coming through Norfolk County for the Hanlon Deerfield project, particularly about $1.1 million we were looking at for the HVAC projects. So we have had several meetings with Norfolk on that, and they've been super helpful in helping us discuss and lay out and prepare what could be the application to them for that funding. One thing that occurred is before Norfolk can approve any of the town's applications, because they're handling this portion of the ARPA money, which is federal funding, they have to meet with each community to go through what you have in place to handle federal grant money. Federal grant money requires particular funding, particular accounting setups, reporting, and other compliance. So Town Accountant Maria Leary and I met with someone from Clifton Larson who Norfolk County is using to kind of handle the money, and went through the whole review with them on what they were looking at as far as our federal grant requirements. They asked about our internal controls, what's our accounting system for our federal money, what's our reporting system. The town does have our own federal money each year that comes to us for different programs. So we undergo each year a federal grant, and we get a report issued on that. We've not had any findings with that money for many years. So Clifton Larson Allen was able to review that and was satisfied that we met all of the requirements, and was pleased with what we were able to discuss with them. So again, they considered that their first step. They're doing that with every community. That's part of their requirement to make sure they can properly handle the federal funds. So they indicated that once that was completed, we're now eligible to proceed with applications for funding. So that only occurs once, and it won't occur every time we submit an application. But so that's completed. So we are now able to formally request the funding of that $1.1 million. And we would be able to put that through and get that started with the board's approval and vote. Norfolk did indicate that an application takes about 3 weeks through their approval process before they would come back and tell us that it was voted on and is ready to be approved and funded, and then releasing the funds.
So just as a reminder to the public, this was the 1.1 is what was requested by the Permanent Building Committee after opening of the project bids. And this is the delta that was left after the school committee had voted to apply the $2 million in mitigation funds from University Station. So Chris and Pam did a fantastic job. And this is actually the restricted money from the ARPA funds. So there were limited uses that we had, and we were thrilled that the school project actually rose to meet their standards for the use of these restricted funds. So with that, I would ask if there are any questions from my colleagues.
Mr. Chair, if I may just say one more thing.
Certainly.
Just to expand on what Pam said. So thank you, Pam and Marie, for the great job that they did in the meeting they had with Norfolk County. This was this is another example of a total team effort working both town and school. Pam and I had an opportunity to meet with Norfolk County representatives. We also had a meeting with the project team and Norfolk County, and really had a very productive conversation about the project that really helped us with this application and making this request or recommendation to the board this evening. So I just want to mention that positive working environment that we're having.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any questions from Mr. Walsh or Ms. Lebon-Cummings? No?
No
Entertain a
question.
motion.
I just want to affirm that great work, and I think this is a wonderful opportunity for the town to be supporting the school project.
Okay, I move that the board submit an application for $1.1 million in HVAC systems work for the new Hanlon Deerfield School to be applied to Westwood's restricted ARPA funding with Norfolk County.
I second that.
All right, Ms. LeBlanc-Cummings,
Aye.
Mr. Walsh,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. All right, so that passes. Next up, we have discussion of Fall Town Special Town Meeting. This is required by the charter that we decide by September 15th if we're not going to proceed with the Fall Town Meeting. If we decide to proceed with the Fall Town Meeting, we must set a date by that September 15th date. And so, Chris, Pam, what are your thoughts in terms of, are you seeing any need for, from a financial standpoint, any articles to be considered?
No, Mr. Chair. Not for a fall town meeting.
Okay. And we have until our next meeting to finalize that plan. So I don't think there's anything that we need to do this evening in the way of taking a vote. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next business item under old business, which is the transfer of funds to Westwood Media Center.
Mr. Chair, excuse me, I'm going to recuse myself.
Certainly.
Is it okay just to stop my video and mute myself, Mr. Hearn? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, and the purpose here is to transfer funds from Comcast and Verizon for those contracts. So Pam, is there anything that you'd like to fill us in here? Or is this Chris?
I think it's pretty standard, Rob. We do this all the time. We have the agreement with Westwood Media Center, and we transfer the money that comes from Comcast and Verizon so that they can continue with the Westwood Media Center.
Yep. All right, then I would entertain a motion, Michael. Do we need to specify out what we're talking about here?
I will.
Yep.
So I move that the select board approve the transfer of $50,173.10 from Comcast, as well as $41,619.78 from Verizon, for a grand total of $91,792.88 to Westwood Media Center per the license agreements and the Westwood Media Center agreements signed by the select board.
I will second that out of necessity. Mr. Walsh,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Next up, we have, Marianne, you can come on back in. We have some appointments and reappointments to consider. Chris, would you like to take us through this? Chris, you may be on mute.
I don't, yeah.
Sorry about that. Thank you. For the appointments, recommending to the board for the Charter Review Committee, the fifth member being Dottie Powers. Dottie is currently, the board currently has approved Dottie or appointed Dottie as an ex officio. So the recommendation is to move her from ex officio to an appointed voting member.
Okay.
Did you want to go one by one, or did you want to go the whole list?
No, we don't need to vote on them one by one. Why don't we have you just propose who for which committee, and then we will move the entire group, unless there is a hold requested by anybody on any particular one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm losing my screen on my iPad.
So I believe we have.
So Tish, could you? I think it was Conservation Commission. Tish, would you mind just picking up?
Yeah,
I think it was Conservation Commission was next. I'm sorry, I'm losing this one.
That's okay. Conservation Commission, we have Mr. Elias Faras asked to be appointed to the Conservation Commission. He is a civil engineer who has a background in highway design and drainage design. And he's being recommended for appointment to fill John Rogers' role, who resigned as of July 2022. So Mr. Faras will be appointed until June 30th of 2023 to fill that term. And he is being recommended. He met with both Christopher Coleman and Karen Catroni, the conservation agent, and they are recommending him for appointment.
Okay.
Council of Aging. Lena and Chris met with Mr. Tony Antonello Sr. and to recommend him as appointment to the Council of Aging. He is a resident of Westwood for over 60 years, and he is currently an avid helper at the senior center and presently in charge of the vegetable garden. And they had a wonderful interview with him and are recommending him for appointment, Mr. Antonello Sr. for appointment to the Council on Aging. I don't know if Chris wants to add anything because he did meet with this gentleman.
Oh, he is a true gentleman and full of energy. I did ask him if I could meet with him every Monday at 8 o'clock because he has such a tremendous amount of energy. I think he's going to be a great member of the COA, and he's also currently already volunteering at the COA. He is just a true gentleman.
And then we have two election officers being recommended by Town Clerk Dottie Powers, Mr. Russell Agruso, I believe, and Douglas Obey as elected officers until June 30th, 2023. And then the next one up is Ped Bike. Typically, the public safety officers serve as an ex officio on Ped Bike, and we currently have two officers that share that role, Officer Frank Baker and Officer Steve Connolly. So they'll be appointed as traffic/safety officers, ex officio members on Penn Bike. And then the last one is Youth and Family Services Advisory Board. Katie Coltott, who is the new Director of Youth and Family Services, she will be appointed as an ex officio member on the board. So those are the 5 I believe we have.
Any questions?
Six.
Any questions or concerns from my colleagues?
Nope, nothing.
Nope.
All right, entertain a motion.
All right, so I move that the select board remove Dottie Powers as an ex officio on the Charter Review Committee and appoint her as a member, a voting member on the Charter Review Committee with a term to expire on June 30th, 2023. That the select board appoint Elias Faris as a member on the Conservation Commission with a term to expire on June 30th, 2023. That we appoint Tony Antonellis Sr. as a member on the Council of Aging with a term to expire on June 30th, 2025. That the select board appoint Russell Agrusa and Doug Obey as election officers with terms to expire on June 30th, 2023. And that we appoint police officers Frank Baker and Steve Conley as ex officio traffic/safety officers on the Pedestrian Bicycle Safety Committee with a term to expire on June 30th, 2023. And that we appoint Katie Colhart as an ex officio member on the Youth and Family Services Advisory Board with a term to expire on June 30th, 2023.
I second that motion.
All right, roll call vote. Ms. LeBlanc Cummings,
Aye.
Mr. Walsh,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Welcome and thank you to all for your willingness to serve. That covers all old business other than approval of our last meeting minutes. So with that, from August 1st, did anybody have any changes, comments to the meeting minutes?
Nope.
I do not.
Okay, so entertain a motion there.
So I move that the board approve the select board meeting minutes from August 1st, 2022, consisting of 8 pages as written.
Seconded.
Okay, Ms. LeBlanc Cummings,
Aye.
Mr. Walsh,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Is there any other business that should come before this board tonight? No? Before we sign off, I just want to say to Pam, thank you for closing out the final fiscal year in such smooth fashion as you have always done. We hope that each subsequent year will go as smoothly as this one did.
Thank you. I'm sure it will. And all of our departments and the school department really do a great job monitoring their budgets throughout the year, working with the accounting staff. You know, we try to keep the board updated throughout the year. So really, all of our departments, including the schools, have done a great job in really monitoring those budgets. And it's so helpful just to have a smooth closeout and opening up now a new year.
That's right.
By 23.
All right. With that, I would thank you to you and to everyone who participates in that process as diligently as they do. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. LeBlanc Cummings,
Aye.
Mr. Walsh,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Have a great night.
Our next meeting
Thank
is
you,
September 12th.
Thank you, Michael. Our next
Good
meeting
night.
is at